Hey guys, it is now the 18th of May. I'm still here in Belfast, but I'm only going to be here for maybe 6 more weeks by now. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But I've quite a bit to get through this week, and luckily the turn shouldn't be too busy. So I've discovered after I played the last turn, I was looking around at the situation, and it looks like it's going to be impossible for me to conquer Germany before it leaves the EU, which will be in around 3 turns. Now, this is a blow to my playthrough. It's like a structural damage to my playthrough. But I have a plan for dealing with it, which will be that I pivot to conquering England. If I can get England's executive point in the next 15 turns, I'll be on track to go Benelux and Spain, then England, then Germany. And that'll still be a pretty strong way to play Europe. But it will mean that I have to spend a lot more time now worrying about Europe. So that is what I'm gonna do. Now, I forgot to mention last time about the Pope, which is, we had a new Pope. I was talking about it, and then when it actually happened, I quit talking about it. So basically what happened is that over the course of last week, not this week, we had an election in Canada and in Australia. And both of them, the right-wing guy got completely blasted and lost his personal seat in their parliament. It was routs in both cases, with liberal, quite decent blue hat kind of guys there. And then people were expecting the way the narrative is supposed to play out is that then we get a rightist in the papacy. But because the deep state establishment kind of guys don't have any power in the College of Cardinals, we instead got 3 in a row with a liberal pope. And he is Leo the 14th. Last time I've been talking about the pope who died, I called him Francis II. He's in fact Francis I. But anyway, Leo the 14th is from Chicago, and he's the first USA, second America's first USA pope, 2 in a row. He's also half Peruvian, and he was Archbishop in Peru as well. And he is good. He's a liberal. He's very anti-Trump, anti this push to the right. So maybe the zeitgeist is really starting to change against the idea of a rightward swing being a serious long-term thing that's going on. Trump is kind of fucking up, and the Pope now, and there's a lot of push against that. So he is, the Pope has been talking about unifying the church, which to me sounds like he might be thinking about purging the right-wing cardinals from the Anglosphere, which is like a minority position by now in the church, who are quite aggressive about changing things, and unify might be a euphemism for attack those guys. But right now what he's doing is kind of working on attacking like the Trump establishment in America, which is good. They're really gnashing their teeth about it. But it's kind of otherwise, aside from them, everyone's pretty happy about that. The other thing I need to talk to you about today is that Peter Marshall, the guy I thought was going to sell my plastic in Belfast, he doesn't want the deal. He's out. And so instead, I found a young guy who's like 24, 25, works in a record shop, but he's known to be very good at selling the records, and he wants to think about getting into the sales business. So not next week, but the week after, he will begin calling the customers. And hopefully he will, over the course of a month or 6 weeks, find me a customer for my first shipment of plastic. Now, the rains might be ending towards the end of next week in Kenya. Okay. And I'm more or less ready to start my construction project there with the idea that I will get a customer here. I've run the numbers, and if I sell a 20-foot container to a customer in Belfast, that'll last him more than 3 months. So I'm going to need to, like William, the salesman, will have to sell probably around the British Isles, find a few key friends that I can just ship every 3 months a container to one of my different guys, and kind of flood the market with every regional market for plastic lumbers, having a guy in that market who supplies using my stuff. And my price will be quite a bit lower than market standard, because normally plastic lumber guys cannot afford this deal. So I'm kind of breaking open a new market. £4 a kilogram is still going to be a very good price for me. It'll be entirely lucrative. So what this has meant is that I've kind of locked down my plan for the next until the end of the year, which is basically I stay here until June, then I go to Canada, then I come back here, and hopefully grab Ryan, who hasn't been heard from in a couple weeks, but in the future it might be better. Okay, I'm supposed to do that, and that, and that. In fact, let me do that. Okay, so yeah, this is my plan. Then after I go back to Kenya, I go to town putting together the first container. I work on making sure the plastic flows into my system, piles up, I process it down into its flakes, I fill a 20-foot container, find a customer, find a shipping associate, this and that. Then when the container's ready, probably towards the end of the year, I put it on a boat to go to Belfast. And then I fly over to Belfast, and I spend some time this side, maybe 6 weeks, making sure I'm all good in terms of the legal, the taxes, the logistics, and I ease the process of getting the container from the dock to the factory in Belfast. And then that'll get me probably, this is a nice tech to grab. Yeah, in fact, let me do this. But that should get me towards the end of the year, and that will also get me to pay within my short-term plan, which is a big deal for me within my medium-term plan, because when I sell the thing, that'll get me £50,000, and now I'm in business. That's a lot more money than I've been able to play with, and it should be recurring if William can find another guy in Liverpool next, let's say. I'm thinking of Liverpool, Cork, Bristol, Norwich, Glasgow as like key target locations. And that would mean that by the end of this year, I have a straight line to getting myself into a mature sales position, ending my starvation by the end of the year. So that's huge for me, and I'm very keen on seeing that happen, let's say. So yeah, that's more or less the big deal in my life at the minute. There's a lot more to be done. Next week, in fact, I need to finally lock down changing my room, because my room is shit and it's getting towards the end of this month. I'll have nowhere to stay officially at the end of this month. So that's going to still need to happen. There's still a lot on my plate. I think I'm going to abandon... Yeah, let me abandon Lithuania here. And then I might or might not throw a party in Belfast. I might postpone that until Christmas. I feel like it should be alright at this point to postpone it until Christmas, but if I can get it maybe when I'm passing through in July, that would also be good. I've been missing a meeting with a guy who I want to work on the location with. I haven't seen him in a few weeks, so that's postponed things quite substantially. Alright, now I want to... What do I want to do here? I think I might abandon Azerbaijan. Yeah, so now I'm going to unify France because someone's made a play for my missing control point in France. So that is great. And yeah, I'm in quite good spirits with this change in my circumstances, with this new plan, and provided I have good feeling about William being able to make this play. I think it's an excellent deal for the customer, which is where we need to be. And if William can make a sale, and if he doesn't fuck it up, and if I don't fuck it up, then by the end of this year, I'm going to be in a different economic strata than I am now, and then my career can really begin to take off. I'm getting my 39th birthday now in October, so during my 39th year, before I turn 40, I will begin the next, let's say, the next decade of my career. And that is fantastic. And it looks like my timing is perfect here, because the turn's about to go. And with that, I will leave you. See you next time.